Maddie's the only one who's actually physically been on the property. I'm really worried, like, what if it's not cool?
What does she do when a woman who has invested more than 3 decades in a polygamous marriage finally leaves?
At this point, I am perfectly capable of moving forward in my life.
Leaves not only the man she once loved, but the whole identity she constructed around him?
I feel so bad, Mary. I feel like you were especially taken for a ride. You know what I mean? For sure.
That's what viewers of Sister Wives have been wondering ever since Janelle Brown waged her quiet strength and translated it into forceful independence. But since season 19 wrapped up, Janelle's path has veered in an even more surprising direction. One that combines—
Mary told me about it. I didn't know what to say. I uninvolved myself. If I'd have been there and given them the reasons we broke up,
personal recovery with a tentative but unmistakable re-entry into the dating world. And let's not forget, this isn't the Janelle Brown fans saw when this show first launched in 2010. This is a woman who has experienced heartache, betrayal, and crushing loss, and is now opting for herself. Janelle's history with Kody Brown started in 1990, when she spiritually wed him and became the second wife in a promising polygamous family. She was a believer in the ideals of plural marriage then, and she never imagined that the years to come would demand so much emotional sacrifice. Her relationship with Kody was distinct right from the start. Less romantic, more pragmatic. She was the working wife, the one who held the family financially stable and still managed to mother children and enable Kody to pursue his romanticized vision of family. On the surface, she was strong, independent, and dedicated. But behind closed doors, the emotional disconnect between her and Kody was quietly strangling her. Throughout the seasons of Sister Wives, viewers started noticing little signs of issues. Janelle seldom showed affection for Kody, and exchanges between them seemed transactional. As time went on, it became agonizingly obvious that their emotional closeness had disintegrated. By the time Christine departed the marriage in 2021, Janelle was already questioning where she fit in the family. Her allegiance was starting to break. And when Kody's strict COVID protocols started to wedge him away from their kids, Janelle hit a wall. One memorable moment featured her standing up to Kody, exclaiming, "You're asking me to choose between you and my children." It was a raw moment. A moment that revealed just how broken their relationship had become. That wasn't an argument. That was a mother choosing her kids over a man who had consistently failed to show up for them. At the end of 2021, Janelle quietly broke up with Kody. While Christine's departure was loud and free, Janelle's exit was quiet, almost somber. She didn't require fireworks. Her silence was enough. And by 2022, their decades-long spiritual union had essentially ended. But the full impact of that choice didn't hit until tragedy. In March 2024, their son, Garrison Brown, passed away at the young age of 25. The loss was not just heartbreaking, it was devastating. For Janelle, it destroyed everything she believed she'd already mourned. Her son was her light, her strength, her happiness, and poof, gone. The pain was indescribable, but what hurt more was the emotional distance between her and Kody at that time. Rather than uniting over their shared heartache, their relationship became colder, farther away. Janelle alone wept for her child, Kody struggling in bewilderment, fixated on his own story. Fans noticed. Twitter and Facebook exploded with sympathy for Janelle and outrage at Kody, who appeared more interested in control and appearance than actually holding the hand of the mother of his son. Janelle's unspoken strength throughout this period served as the refuge for the viewers watching, appalled as the family disintegrated. This tragedy made Janelle rethink everything. She had long since parted ways with the marriage, but now she was faced with a whole other question. Who was she without the label of wife, mother, caregiver? And who might she become in the wake of such massive loss? Janelle has stepped back from the limelight since Garrison's death, but in that silent room, something new has been happening. Something raw, intimate, and surely courageous. She's been healing, not in a public, sanitized manner, but in the messy, fundamentally human way that true healing actually appears. And in the process of that healing, she started to experiment with what it is like to feel desirable once more, to be desired, to be viewed, not as half of a polygamous marriage, but as a complete, vibrant woman. There were rumors in early 2025 that Janelle was dipping her toe back into the dating pool. And although she's kept it on the down low, sources close to her explain that she's been hit up by a number of potential beaus. Men who view her as more than Kody Brown's discarded wife. Men who respect her strength, her integrity, and her unshakable commitment to honesty. For the first time in years, Janelle is permitting herself to explore the possibility of companionship on her own terms. Not for religion, not for duty, but for connection. Still, that fresh openness ignited a whirlwind of gossip. Social media gossip went wild with questions regarding her sexuality, with some speculating Janelle could be asexual or not interested in men at all. The internet can be merciless, and for a woman in her 50s attempting to take back control, the din was overwhelming. But Janelle wasn't going to let false information determine her narrative. In June 2025, she took to social media and publicly addressed the speculation head-on. "I promise you, I'm not asexual," she said with striking clarity. "I promise you, I'm a very sexual being." Her voice was firm, confident, and refreshingly unapologetic. She went on to explain that her current disinterest in remarriage doesn't stem from a lack of desire. It comes from a commitment to honoring her own pace. For once, Janelle is not rushing into anything. She's not attempting to live up to anyone's standards. She's taking back her sensuality, her value, and her power. And she's doing it with no shame. It was a turning point. For years, Janelle had been stereotyped as the quiet one, the practical one, the peacekeeper. But with a few words, she shattered those illusions and reintroduced herself. Not as Kody's ex-wife, not as a sister wife, but as a woman in full flower. A woman who has known great love, great loss, and is still willing to open her heart to something new. Janelle's journey is far from over. But what's clear now is that she's no longer waiting for life to happen to her. She's taking the reins. Whether she finds a new partner or simply falls deeper in love with her own freedom, Janelle Brown is showing us all what it means to rise. After heartbreak, after grief, after decades of being silenced. And in the process, she's speaking out on behalf of countless women who've long survived and are now ready to flourish. Throughout the dramatic Sister Wives one-on-one reunion, fans got to see a side of Janelle Brown they never really saw throughout the main seasons. A side that was forthcoming, level-headed, and refreshingly candid. Seated across from the interviewer, looking back on the circumstances surrounding her split from Kody, Janelle didn't mince words. The discussion became unexpectedly personal when she spoke about one of the oddest rumors on the web, that she is asexual. Janelle found the gossip confusing and infuriating. She outlined that some viewers had deduced she could not be interested in sex because she rejected what she referred to as assembly line kisses from Kody. The very description itself, assembly line kisses, had an edge of sarcasm and emotional disconnection. It spoke of what her marriage had turned into: automatic, duty-bound, lacking passion. And when Janelle laughed with the ridiculousness of the assumptions, exclaiming, "That is just so wild," you could sense that she was sincere. She wasn't offended. She was tired. For years, the public perceived her as the quiet one, the down-to-earth one, the unromantic one. But the truth is, she did have needs and wants like everybody else. She insisted that being single did not instantly render her immune to passion. On the contrary, it unleashed hell in her hormones, she suggested. That one throwaway remark spoke louder about what goes on inside Janelle's head than 100 interviews ever could. It was unvarnished. It was authentic. And it spoke volume-wise. Janelle Brown is not finished feeling, not finished living, and far from finished loving. This new chapter in Janelle's life is playing out away from the drama of Flagstaff and the scrutinizing eye of Kody's inner circle. In April 2024, she made a dramatic, symbolic move into her future. She bought 156.4 acres of property in Chocowinity, North Carolina, for $289,000. A broad, green sweep that would be the basis of a new family legacy. Not one centered on plural marriage or shared husbands, but one centered on healing, the outdoors, and self-sufficiency. Together with her daughter Madison and son-in-law Caleb Brush, Janelle started Taeda Farms, a flower farm that embodies all she's been working behind the scenes towards for so long. The name of the farm, Taeda, is not merely a nice-sounding Latin term. It's a torch or a pine wood employed in rituals. And that symbolism is important. It's a reference to heat, new beginnings, and coming together. It symbolizes the light that follows the darkness. And following all that Janelle's been through, from decades of a troubled spiritual union to the unthinkable tragedy of the loss of her son Garrison, this farm is more than a venture. It's a sanctuary, a place of reverence, a second chance at life. Those close to Janelle say she's thrown herself into the project with the passion of someone reclaiming her identity. She's always had a green thumb. Viewers have seen glimpses of it over the years. But now it's become a true calling. She's designing garden pathways lined with wildflowers and heirloom blooms. She's envisioning seasonal harvests, community events, and quiet mornings where the only sound is the rustling of trees. The land isn't soil, it's story. And Janelle is at last the writer of her own story. But of course, with no rebirth comes no struggle. Taeda Farms, though bursting with vision and heart, has encountered its own roadblocks. As of mid-2025, the farm continues to be held back in part by permitting delays related to wetlands regulations. Local officials flagged areas of the property for review, holding back full development. For others, this may have been a devastating blow. But Janelle, in her steadfast spirit, adjusted. Rather than shelving her dream, she adapted. She and the team started small-scale cultivation in a backyard bed on Madison and Caleb's land. It's modest. It's temporary. But it's sufficient to sustain the dream. Janelle just told me that despite these constraints, they're planting trial beds of native wildflowers and testing sustainable means of growth. It's a tiny beginning, but one that's mindful, based in patience, love, and plenty of grit. What is so poignant is that Taeda Farms is not merely about Janelle. It's about legacy. It's about crafting something with and for her kids, a form of emotional restitution for all the family has endured. Since Garrison's death, since all those years of emotional abandonment, this flower farm is a statement that beauty can still grow out of sorrow, that family can be reconfigured, and that healing can be gathered in increments, one petal at a time. Janelle's new North Carolina life is more than a move. It's an exit from all that Kody ever prized, his fixation on control, hierarchy, and image. By contrast, Janelle's life now is about earthiness, softness, actual work with actual purpose. She's no longer existing on someone else's terms. She's flourishing on her own. And she's doing it not through some superficial reinvention, but through everyday, steady effort, the kind that lasts. To those fans who've watched her grow from the very beginning of Sister Wives, this transformation has been nothing short of absolute. The woman who bit her tongue, who labored long hours to support a man who barely met her eyes, is now standing tall, in muddy boots, with mud on her hands, and her heart open at last. And the best thing about it, she's not hurrying to figure out what's next. Is it love? Is it business? Is it just peace? Janelle is letting it happen organically. No more factory lines. No more playing roles. Just one woman at last in full bloom. In addition to her busy work on Taeda Farms, Janelle Brown is also building a foundation. Literally, the life she has always envisioned. In North Carolina, amidst the green rural peace that now characterizes her post-Kody life, Janelle is constructing her very first standalone home. And this is no ordinary home. This is a milestone years in the making. For the first time since she joined Plural Marriage back in 1990, Janelle is creating a space that solely belongs to her. Her tastes, her style, her vibe. No compromises, no communal kitchen, no silent rules governed by a ghost spiritual husband. Only peace, privacy, and stability. This home is more than 4 walls and a ceiling. It's a reclaiming of self, a personal statement that she's no longer residing in borrowed land, no longer accommodating to Kody's whims, no longer a house guest in someone else's narrative. This is Janelle's sanctuary. After all those years of RVs, short-term rentals, and shuttling back and forth between shared houses in Flagstaff and Las Vegas, the concept of a permanent, individual home is revolutionary. It's the freedom she thought she'd never attain. And now she's working for it, brick by brick, choice by choice. Family insiders report that she's heavily engaged in the design process, selecting everything from countertops to garden pathways. The house will accommodate family visits, quiet coffee mornings, and reading or gardening evenings under a North Carolina sunset. It's reflective of who she has become, intentional, grounded, and not afraid to own joy. This house is Janelle's fresh start, a place where she's not merely healing from the past, but building something beautifully, powerfully hers. But of course, with any self-sufficient woman starting a new life, the question is she starting it on her own? That's what Sister Wives fans have been wondering since season 19. Who is Janelle dating today? Has she moved on from Kody romantically? Does she have a new beau in the mix? The answer, as given by Janelle herself, is complicated. She's been candid, more candid than ever, about where she is. She's not seeing anyone. No secret boyfriend, no secret affair, no mad dash into the next relationship. She's stated as much. Her heart isn't in love right now. It's in rediscovery, in finding the pieces of herself that lay hidden beneath all those years of sacrifice and emotional abandonment. It doesn't mean she's closed off to ever again. In her own words, she explained, I suspect that someday down the road, if there's somebody else, then that will be part of it. Currently, however, she's not looking. She's not swiping, she's not settling. She's simply living. It's a nice sort of honesty. In a world where women are sometimes pushed to jump into new romances to show they're worthy, Janelle is turning it all around. She isn't eager to replace Kody. In fact, she's happy to be out of that situation. After all she was through, years of being emotionally relegated, her kids disregarded, her loyalty taken for granted, it's little wonder that she's careful never to give someone that sort of authority again. But that hasn't discouraged the gossip. Social media, ever present, has been abuzz with rumors and fan theories. Some, misunderstanding her autonomy, wondered if Janelle just wasn't interested in romance whatsoever. Online communities started circulating tales of her potentially being asexual, particularly when compared to Christine, who promptly found love after her own departure. But Janelle had other plans. And in one of her most candid moments to date, she shut those rumors down with unapologetic clarity. "Just trust that I'm not," she said firmly, addressing the public head-on. "I'm a very sexual being, a very earthed mama." That phrase, earthed mama, was classic Janelle, a blend of astrology, grounded sensuality, and confident maturity. She went on to say, "I'm a Taurus," which for those who know astrology says everything. Taurus women are committed, caring, intensely sensual, and hard to budge. They walk with purpose. They recognize what they desire, and more importantly, what they don't. Janelle's reluctance to date is not a lack of lust. It's wisdom. From boundaries. From that kind of self-knowledge only heartbreak teaches you. She's not saying no to love. She's saying yes to herself. As of mid-2025, Janelle is still embracing this chapter of her life with an open heart and firm ground. There's no new man in her sphere, and she's more than fine with that. She's not pining for romantic approval. She's not looking to be someone's second wife, third priority, or emotional afterthought anymore. She's opting for solitude over settling, peace over performance, freedom over forced affection. And the outcome? A woman who's never been more radiant. Fans have noted how different she appears now. Brighter, more at ease, more alive. Her social media updates depict her in the garden, laughing with grandchildren, smiling beside Madison at farmers markets. She's not hiding anymore. She's thriving. So if you're wondering whether Janelle Brown has a new man in her life, the answer is simple. She does. It's her. For the first time in decades, Janelle is dating her own potential, falling in love with her independence, building a future that doesn't require anyone else to complete it. And maybe, just maybe, that's the kind of love story she was always meant to tell. In a candid and eye-opening interview on the Sibling Revelry podcast in February 2025, Janelle Brown provided fans with a glimpse into her psyche following her breakup with Kody Brown. The guarded, softly spoken woman who carefully tiptoed along to maintain harmony in a broken, polygamous family was nowhere to be found. In her stead was someone rooted, self-assured, and unshakably clear about the life she's now opting to lead. With a full laugh and assertive simplicity, she said, "I love my single life." And there it was, the template for where she was at emotionally, mentally, and spiritually in this next chapter. She talked about being done with dating and marriage, not out of bitterness, but out of wholeness. It wasn't a dramatic rejection of romance, but a soft, quiet proclamation of peace. For Janelle, the noise, the complexities, the tug-of-war of attempting to make herself fit into a vision of love that never actually worked. It's all over now. She no longer feels compelled to pursue companionship. There's no longer a void waiting to be filled. Instead, she's discovered strength in isolation and freedom in finally living life on her own terms. And that she's never known, not since she first married into the Brown family decades before. She made it clear that although she hasn't shut the door to love entirely, she has no desire to pursue it. If the right person happened along, sure, she'd be open. But love is not on her agenda, not her priority, not the axis of her world anymore. And that shift of mindset is one of the strongest changes we've witnessed from any of the Sister Wives ladies. Janelle is not looking. She's rooting herself in expansion, in family, in the peace of a drama-free existence, far away from the suffocating confines of her polygamous history. But whereas Janelle has moved on, there's one who hasn't. Kody Brown, the man she once loved, the father of her children, the focus of a spiritual marriage that lasted more than 3 decades. Himself mired, still circling the wreckage of what once was. And more than once, he's confessed that the emotional breakdown of his marriage with Janelle still gives him pause. In a number of interviews over the course of a year, Kody has admitted he continues to hold out hope for reconciliation. Yes, even after all the hurt, even after the emotional abandonment over their son Garrison's sad death, even after Janelle made it clear that she was finished, Kody still hasn't completely let go. He's stated in his own words that he continues to love her, that he wants to rebuild what they shared. And beneath those words, there's a vulnerability, a crack in the bluster that has characterized him for so long. For a man who used to insist on loyalty without giving much in exchange, seeing Janelle walk away, strong, independent, and unapologetically alone, has been humbling, even, he admits, embarrassing. Throughout Sister Wives Season 19, Kody made a shocking admission. He frequently feels he's begging Janelle to reconnect. Begging. It was an unguarded moment of truth, a moment that pierced the traditional spin. He talked about the pain he feels every time she withdraws from him. Every time she reminds him, willfully or otherwise, that she doesn't need him anymore. Every time she moves away, he said, it hurts more. And viewers watching could sense the change. It's no longer about love, it's about ego, about control, of the queasy realization that Janelle, the wife he used to underestimate, is now doing very well without him. But Kody's conflict runs deeper than bruised ego. There's a certain unease he has spoken about Janelle's newfound independence, particularly her romantic independence. Although she's not seeing anyone, and has also expressed repeatedly that she's happy being single, the mere possibility of her not wanting him appears to unsettle something in him. He's framed her refusal to reconcile as punishment, as though she's depriving him of something. But the truth is, Janelle's not punishing anyone. She's just guarding her peace. And for a man like Kody, accustomed to being the gravitational center in the lives of several women, that emotional sovereignty is threatening. It's ironic, actually. For years, Kody put Robyn first, overlooked warning signs, and treated his other wives like afterthoughts. Janelle, especially, was consistently asked to keep it all together without complaining. She took care of their kids, worked full-time, and stuffed her emotions so the family wouldn't disintegrate. But now that she's chosen herself, now that she's finally decided to stop begging for his attention, his affection, his crumbs of loyalty, now he wants her back. But the hardest reality, for Kody anyway, is that Janelle's affection isn't available. She's taken it back, redirected it, and even if she one day dated again, it wouldn't be a throwback to the past. It would be something new, something entirely in her control, something Kody might never see. So while Kody is still struggling with what he lost, Janelle's busy creating what's next. Not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. She's planting roots, not regrets. She's cultivating a new life where her voice isn't just heard, but respected. And no matter how often Kody attempts to reel her back into his sphere, Janelle's made one thing crystal clear. She's not going backward.